Welcome back to the CONVO Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Sue is over there on the ones and twos. So, fam, how we doing?
Good.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You didn't even mention yesterday that yesterday was our 2-year anniversary. We did our first show 2 years ago yesterday on Facebook. And about a couple weeks later, we eventually got the YouTube's working. I believe it's October 27th. I'm not sure, right? That's the date. So that would be our 2-year YouTube anniversary. But we did do our first show, fam. And do you remember I made you a puttanesca omelet?
You did. You did make me an omelet. It was good.
Do you remember what was in it?
No. Like olives?
Olives?
Eggs.
No. Let me tell you what it was. It was an egg white omelet.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't use egg whites. I used regular eggs. I'm sorry. It was feta cheese, Kalamata olives, fresh basil,
olives.
red onion, and I made a beautiful tomato, kind of like chunky tomato salsa with fresh basil, garlic, and olive oil we drizzled on top. And of course, I had your avocado in there because I know fam loves her some avocado.
Millennials love avocados. This is why we can't buy houses.
Avocados are expensive, even over here.
Yeah.
So did anything get you going, fam? I mean, you've been on Twitter all day. You've been lighting it up.
I haven't even been on Twitter all day. But
you know what I mean. You've been
are we going there right now?
Where? No, we're gonna go get into everything. We could listen. We actually, you know what? We'll do that. Johnny, if you could just pull up real quick the Twitter, Tulsi Gabbard's Twitter, and we'll just start with that. We'll get it out of the way, and then we'll go into the story of what happened. And we want to talk about the one that was just out there several minutes ago. Not an hour ago, but it says, for the confused. It says, we should get our troops out of Syria ASAP in the responsible way. It's up to the Kurds in Syria to either fight for or surrender. And that is the truth. And really, to tell you the truth, fam, is that I've been talking to a lot of people one-on-ones about what's really going on, because I think there's been some a big press within our own Congress, and it really is sickening right now that the Democrats are such neocons right now. You know what I'm saying? If it's up to a lot of them, they'll keep our troops there forever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we've been saying this from the get-go. It's a really messed up situation. The military-industrial complex is funding all sides. We've been funding all sides. And it started off with a little thing called Operation Timber Sycamore, a Syrian Crisis Explained.
Which is why they're like shadow banning this entire stream.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah, we put up that words right there, and the bell's not going. So let's get the people out there. Let's share. Let's see how many people we got on right now. We have 11. You see what I'm saying? Yesterday we had 300. Right now we have 11 or 12. Okay? So, we've been getting blacklisted, shadow banned. We know it. It's not going to stop us, but we need your help in this whole situation to just keep sharing, keep liking, make it a point to do some extra sharing and get some friends of yours to join, because they keep on taking down our subscribers, and we need you to help us out. So let's get started with this whole topic. Fam, I'm going to start off with your guy, Max Blumenthal. I know you love this guy's work. So do I. Aaron Mattei, love his work. Ben Norton, they've done such great work. The Management of Savagery. He wrote a book. He put up a tweet not too long ago. It says, and it was responding to, not to be that guy, but just imagine if Obama invited the Taliban to the United States for talks ahead of the anniversary of September 11th. So Max Blumenthal said, not to be that guy, but Obama and both parties in Congress authorized the CIA's Operation Timber Sycamore to spend billions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer dollars to arm the equivalent of the Taliban in Syria. The program fueled the rise of ISIS and al-Nusra, and U.S. liberals mostly cheered it on. And most U.S. liberals are still cheering it on.
Right.
Do you have anything to say about the state of the liberals in Congress nowadays?
I'm just really irritated because a lot of people on the left think they're so woke, but none of them are paying attention to foreign policy and what's going on. And the minute you call it out, they just see you as like, oh, you're just one of those weird people that cares about foreign policy. It's like, no, like we all need to be better educated on it. And it really, really irritates me. We have one party of neocons. That's all they are. Both the Democrats and the Republicans agree on more war. The only thing that's happening in this election, other than the class warfare that I think is going on, is the pro-war and the pro-peace fight that we have, because that's what this election is going to be about. It's going to be about this revolution, but it's also going to be about peace. Whether, we put someone up there that's going to continue the disastrous imperialist mechanisms that have led to the creation of terrorist groups, or we put someone in there that's going to stop that and be transparent with the American people.
Yeah, fam, you just hit it on the nose, because And it is really just a shame because I understand that we have to deal with the situation the way it is right now today. Okay, what's done is done, and we got to move forward. And we got to look forward. But still, it seems like a lot of these people in Congress have not done the homework to understand how we got here, what started this, and what's really fueling this.
They don't care to do the homework. It doesn't affect them.
I know, but it does affect them, especially if we're staying in the same monetary system where we're going to spend all this money on all these wars, taxpayer dollars that could be spent.
It affects
over
the
here.
Working and middle class. It doesn't affect the elites that are in power, though.
That is true, and
they
the elites
profit off of war.
But why are some of the people that we like in Congress not getting aboard with this? Because it's like they didn't do their homework. Because if you do your homework at the end of the day, you will know, bottom line, that the thing that's really fueling the chaos is our presence more than anything.
I think the military industrial complex and their power is so strong, and a lot of these Congress people are overwhelmed with just trying to deal with the domestic issues that it's just kind of like being, the only person in the group, and then you eventually just give in to like groupthink. Yeah. We need more people in Congress who are keen on foreign policy. I think I said this yesterday. We need people to take a test or to be to pass a test of sorts on foreign policy to be able to freaking be in Congress, because the reality is a lot of these situations are bleeding into foreign policy, and there's people making decisions that have no idea what the hell they're doing.
I did find the test for Congress nowadays when it comes to war. Who's the bad guy? Russia. Who do you blame for everything? Russia. Who is our number one adversary? Russia. Who fixed our elections? Russia. We had an earthquake. Whose fault? Russia.
Exactly.
And that's the test they're going right now because they're so anti-Russia. It's like they're trapped back in freaking the 1950s.
Right.
So Operation Sycamore Timber, or Timber Sycamore, I get them mixed up. Timber Sycamore was all about funding these jihadist groups. It was the equivalent of the Taliban. It was ISIS, it was Al-Qaeda, and it was taking the weapons from Gaddafi's regime, which we had all confiscated, and sent them into Syria. So it was really, really disgusting because when we did that, guess who they were killing? They were killing Syrians, Assad, Damascus group, the Arab army, and they were also killing Kurds at the time. So we act like we cared about the Kurds so much, but we were killing them in the beginning. And then this is how the whole thing started, though, because I want to explain something. There was this awesome article here by Al Jazeera, and it says a civil war explained from the beginning. And you have to understand where things are coming from because, I never wanted to be in a position where I'm sitting here and I'm defending Assad. You know what I'm saying? Assad has done some awful things. His father's done some awful things. There's no doubt about it. But to say that we haven't done some awful things and we haven't been a part of helping ethnic cleansing, for what happened in Iraq alone, they kicked out all the northern Christians in northern Syria. So to say that we haven't been just as bad is kind of hypocritical at
Everybody best. Is a bad guy. There's no good guys in the story. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's so complex and there's so many intermingling issues. But bottom line is the United States has a huge, huge role in this, worse than what we are being honest about. And we need to stop thinking about this as good guy versus bad guy and look at the nuances and the complexities that go when you engage in wars.
Yeah, and what we're doing in Hong Kong is almost equivalent to what we did back in Syria. Now, it's not going to go in the same direction, but things are getting pretty bad in Hong Kong. I don't know if you saw it today, but some of the protesters actually pulled a commuter off the top of a train who was trying to run from him, and they pulled him back into a crowd of people. It was on Rupley, and it was pretty sad, and it's getting really bad over there. I don't think we'll have the same problem, but there was an uprising in 2011 in the Arab Spring. You can see it's the first bullet point. And these successful uprisings became known in the Arab Spring. It happened in Tunisia. It happened in Egypt. So the Syrian protests started there as well. That March, peaceful protests erupted in Syria as well after 15 boys were detained and tortured for writing graffiti in the walls in support of the Arab Spring. One of the boys was 13 years old, was killed after being brutally tortured. So once again, there's an uprising. The Arab Spring is coming. Assad is more of a secular leader of sorts, you know what I'm saying? So he sends troops and tanks and everything to break up these protests. Okay? In July of 2011, defectors from the military announced the formation of the Free Syrian Army, a rebel group aiming to overthrow the government. And Syria began to slide into a civil war. Right below that, while the protests in 2011 were mostly non-sectarian, the armed conflict surfaced stalker sectarian divisions. Most Syrians are Sunni Muslims, but Syria's security establishment has long been dominated by members of the Alawi sect, which Assad is a member of. So you can see, fam, there's some fueling going on. There's a little bit of a civil war erupting. There's protest that's going on. Just like Gaddafi was sending troops to crush the Arab Spring, we bombed him. So we saw the same opportunity. It was like the same playbook. Now, I want you to look at this in 1982 because we talked about this. A friend of mine from that region said in 1982, Bashar's father ordered a military crackdown of the Muslim Brotherhood in Hama, killing tens of thousands of people and flattening much of the city. And that's we talk about the sins of the father. Assad's father had a history. There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of brutal things going on. But a lot of these brutal dictators or leaders are really a result of the United States and West throwing their power into other factions,
right,
trying to cause uprisings to get ourselves a friendly government.
Right.
At the end of the day, what we wanted in Syria was a pipeline that favored us. Okay? So we did what we had to do in this whole situation to get that, to achieve that. And this is something that's really kind of crazy over here, fam, because this is a regime change that didn't work. In Venezuela, it's not working. So I think a lot of people are seeing this, and you see that in Ecuador, which gives them a lot of power. It's like, hey, we can beat back the West. We can beat back these puppets. This can happen. I want to talk about the international involvement, which is the next part because it talks about the regional actors. And this is where you get an idea of how everybody gets involved, and it's such a cluster F. Did you want to have any response to what I just said, or shall I go on?
No, just continue.
Okay. The governments of the majority Shia Iran and Iraq, our Lebanon-based Hezbollah, have supported Assad, while Sunni-majority countries, including Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, have supported anti-Assad rebels. So you can see, again, it's a proxy war, all right? You know what I'm saying? They thrust themselves into this situation. You have two groups funding against each other. The West comes in with their interest. The military-industrial complex, they're the gluttonous pigs because they're selling weapons to all sides, and they're making profits while everybody's killing each other. Since 2016, Turkish troops have launched several operations against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Lebanese ISIL, as known as ISIS, near the borders, as well as against Kurdish groups armed by the United States. So there are certain ISIS groups, Al-Qaeda groups, where Turkey's bombing, but they're also funding other factions of jihadists in there that are now held up in Idlib, and they controlled Idlib. So as you can see, they're supporting their own groups. Now, this whole time the things were going on, I can tell you this unequivocally, fam, that Turkey is a NATO ally, and Erdogan was probably telling Trump the whole time, hey, you're supporting these Kurds to kill all these groups. We're not going to allow them to be at our border. We're not going to let the Kurds in Syria, join with the Kurds in Turkey, which are known as the PKK or the PKK. Then we're not going to let them unite to come fight us. And we've been funding NATO and our Turkish allies to bomb the PKK, the Kurds in Turkey, furthermore cementing the fact that the Democrats really don't give two shits about the Kurds.
No,
Let's be honest.
They don't.
They don't give two shits about the Kurds. They really don't. And it's been inevitable, fam. I've been saying on this show and people have been saying on other shows that what needs to happen are the Kurds and Assad have to align. The Kurds in Syria are Syrian citizens. Assad has been telling them for months, a long time now, United States is going to abandon you. It's over here. And what we need to do is get out of the way 100%. And I know it might sound bad because the Democratic hot word, we need to let Russia go in there and negotiate this deal because Russia has ties to Turkey, even though they're a NATO ally. And obviously Syria is a long-time ally. So they need to go in there. We need to give peace a chance. And the only way we give peace a chance is to get out unequivocally. Also, Israel's in there too. And that's going to be an issue as well because Israel hates Turkey. And they'll use anything they want in the Golan Heights region. The Golan Heights region is kind of up for grab. But you can see how we got involved. The chemical red line. Remember former U.S. President Barack Obama, our favorite, had warned the use of chemical weapons in Syria was the red line that would prompt military intervention. So that's what happened. Even Trump kind of did the same thing. I think it was on my birthday last year, or was it 2 years ago on my birthday? Remember? We're like, we're going to war. That's it. In April. April last year.
Yeah.
April last year, April 14th, it was like, happy birthday, pasta. We just bombed Syria again now because of a Fugazi chemical attack, probably. Because all
Fake
these chemical attacks, they've been debunked, a lot of them. So you can see that Obama got involved. We sent troops in there. Russia launched a campaign. Everybody's fighting against everybody, and it's just a major Mal, cluster F. So that's all I wanted to talk about when it came to that particular article.
I just want to say, like, we were always going to support our NATO allies. It was stupid to think that we at any point were going to actually support the Kurds. We always were going to support our NATO ally, Turkey.
Yeah.
Anybody who thought otherwise was really like wishful thinking. And also the Kurds are not one group. They're actually different political preferences. Some Kurds are not friendly with Syria. There's so many complexities there. The Kurds are not just all one unanimous group. It's important to note that.
Yeah. My stepfather, who is from Istanbul, he passed away a couple years ago. God rest his soul. But he told me there was a lot of Kurdish businessmen in Istanbul that owned businesses. They were Kurdish businessmen. So it's not like all the Kurds. They were actually aligned. A lot of Kurdish businessmen, he told me, in Istanbul. So there are different political groups. There are different Kurds, whatnot. And like I said, I hate to say the same thing about Donald Trump. Of course, we don't want any ethnic cleansing and all that going on. But they're not angels themselves. Everybody got caught up in this
Everybody
mess.
has blood on their hands.
Assad has been begging them to make a deal for a long time, but they said, let me go with U.S. and maybe see if we get our own Kurdistan, which is not going to happen right now. And, Turkey also has about 2 million Syrian refugees that they want to move to the border, and that's why they want that buffer zone. Because they want, because Erdogan is getting a lot of pressure from his constituents and his people back in Turkey that they can't take care of all these refugees that keep on coming in. They're taking Turkish people's jobs, all that bullshit that's going on there as well. Now, on the zero hedge one, the oil and gas one, Johnny, we have this map. I just want to show this map again because this map we've been showing for a long time, fam. This is what it's all about. You can see the blue line, which is the Qatar-Turkey pipeline, and it goes up through Saudi Arabia and cuts into Syria and into Europe, where the red line, which is the Iran, Iraq, Syria pipeline, which is more of Russia, and kind of goes up that way along Iran and then cuts across Iraq and into Syria and goes across. That's what this fight was ultimately about. It was a resource extraction, and not to mention, we can't deny the fact that it was also a pushback against Russia by the United States government by putting our nose in Syria, which is a hardcore Russian ally.
Yeah, there's just so many things in here. It's difficult to break it all down, but I mean, I would look at other sources. I would look at too would be Raina Malik. She did a really good video.
Who?
On it. I forget her name. It's Raina something.
Raina.
She did a really great video that broke it down. It's like a 9-minute video.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see that because that's great because, I'm a political foreign policy junkie, so I like to read a lot of stuff. When I dive into a subject, I'll spend the whole night looking at either Syria or Turkey. The other night I was looking into Ukraine. I was watching old videos from 5 years ago. I love this stuff. Not that I love to see what's pain and suffering and blood and war. I want to see it end. And I like to try to find the methods or the ways that we can reach out that olive branch and, hold it out and find peace.
Do you want to do shout-outs before we go to the next?
Yeah. Really quick shout-outs. We have 59 people watching. Hey, guys, please share us because they are definitely suppressing us. Jeffrey Pearson. It seems like Mission with 5s. That's pretty cool. Kamshwari Kate. Love ya. Michael Lorette. Ungi's on. Ungi. Jets. Moneyline. Watch it. Jordan Allen, Christy Santiago. They're playing the Patriots this week.
Oh.
Michael Cruz, we love you. Jordan Allen, thank you so much. Val, we know you're a CONVO addict.
I hate the Patriots more.
Over on the Facebook, we love our Facebook people. Mikey's on both spots. Steve Wilbrand's still there. Tony Humanic, how you doing, buddy? Gary St. Amour, we love you. Rod Siffington, and Mike Youngie. We said your name 5 times. So that's that so far. Fam, guess what?
What, fam?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Right? We have to talk about her because...
The Assad toady.
This is so stupid. She's the only
the
one
Russian
on that
asset.
friggin' stage that knew anything about what was going on in Syria.
She was.
And her sentiment is right.
I have to admit she was.
Trump, you're not pulling out. You're moving troops aside. Okay, so now it's on the pressure for him to really pull out. Now we got the eyes there. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like, and that's the thing, I don't think that Tulsi is in the room with these guys. We actually don't know what deals are being made. We saw the letter today from Trump going to Turkey. I should have brought that up. I'm so sorry. But we don't know what backdoor deals we've been working with, not, but she has it on the ball. It's not just about getting out of the way. It's about pulling out. Get out. And she wants, at the end of the day, for us to get out. Her embarrassing Pete Buttigieg, who couldn't say anything, who was like, we can't lie.
I've tried,
to
you
convince
guys.
the janitor to fight. we got to, do something. But the smears don't stop against Tulsi Gabbard. Look at the Huffington Post. Tulsi Gabbard opposes regime change war, but she's not anti-war.
Before we get into that, I want to say I've seen way too many comments from quote-unquote progressives. Why does she use the word regime change war? That means she's not really against war. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? What other bullshit argument are you going to do against the biggest anti-war candidate? Like, just because she doesn't say the exact words you want, that means no. She's a freaking veteran, for crying out loud. She is definitely against war, period. She said the only thing she said was, I want to stop wars, but I'm not going to be, unrealistic and say that we're never going to have another war. But this is why I'm against these regime change wars, because they lead to more wars. They foment, mass chaos in other nations. They disrupt our domestic economy. I mean, she's telling you all of this, and you still have to turn it around and say, she just is not anti-war. She's just against regime change war. Do you even know what regime change wars are? You probably don't even know what that means. And this isn't just because I like Tulsi. This is because I'm sick of the smears against this woman. I mean, I have never in my life, besides Bernie, seen somebody been smeared to this level. And of course, what a coincidence that she is so anti-military industrial complex, and she is so nuanced and is an independent thinker that people can't box in. People like their freaking boxes. They like to box people into a left category, a right category, Democrat, Republican, bullshit. Like, I'm so done with it, you guys. You are literally, people on the left, a lot of you are pushing people away from the Democratic Party right into the Republican Party, or into completely just not giving a damn about this election. You think that just because, we have all these great endorsements for Bernie, like, that's all great, but that's only our people. That's only the left. Everybody else outside of that, you're going to have to get in the general. And the way things are going, I'm losing faith on the left being able to do these things, able to get through.
Every now and then we have moments that I just wish I had my coffee and I was on the outside watching in. That's what I was just sitting over there. I was like, go girl. Let me explain this in another way. If I open up a restaurant, Johnny, and I called it food, what do we sell? Food. Not specific. If I open up a restaurant and I call it roast, what do you think we sell? My mic's off. Oh, sorry. If I open up a restaurant called roast, what do you think I would sell?
Like pot roast, or some sort of roast.
Maybe coffee roast, pot roast. But it's kind of like nowadays, it's that, when opening up a restaurant, and I used to do some consulting, you would always try to put the concept within the name. Craft. If I had a restaurant called Craft, you're going to probably think it's craft beers, craft drinks, craft food. Knack, which is an act, you know what I'm saying? So the same thing. So if I say war, it's just general, right?
Yeah.
You know what it is. But if I say regime change war,
it's specific. Exactly.
Now we're educating with the name alone. So yes, she should continue to say it. And for you, though, the people who Fiorella just pointed out, that's an asinine thing for you to do, to say, why can't she say regime change war without saying regime change? All war is bad. Okay, so World War II, when we're fighting against the Nazis for fascism, we shouldn't have got involved? Is that what you're saying? Regime change war is the concept is in the name. It explains what's going on. And that's the problem, fam, is we got to educate people because they don't understand.
They don't even know what that is.
Our whole policy is about regime change.
It's in fact better than just saying war, because just saying war means you're going to only get involved when it's an actual what you consider war. Regime change, a lot of these people don't consider, a lot of these neocons don't consider regime change wars, even though they are. That's exactly what she's telling you.
Yes.
Before we even get into a World War III scenario, we have to stop these regime change wars that get us there. So it is idiotic. It is beyond me. I'm so over it. It's ridiculous to be, going against this. So you have Anna's again.
Well, Anna Asinine Kasparian. That's her new nickname. Anna Asinine Kasparian says, Gabbard is lying. U.S. troops in northern Syria weren't there for regime change war. They were there to deter Turkish aggression against Kurdish allies until there was a safe zone created. Her dishonesty here is gross.
Your dishonesty is gross, Anna. It's disgusting. You have no idea what you are talking about. No idea. And it is very clear that all TYT has been doing as of late is propping up Elizabeth Warren and smearing Tulsi Gabbard. You don't even have to like Tulsi Gabbard to know that this is what they've been doing. It's not fair. You don't have to be for her. You don't have to vote for her. I don't think anybody here is advocating that. What we are advocating is if you're going to be a journalist and influencer and you know, have all these people listening to you on your big 3 million subscriber platform, you cannot be saying things like this without being held accountable to your misgivings and your stupid bias that is clear as day. You are fomenting disinformation and causing people to completely just are the people that need to be educated on foreign policy to just, you're ruining that education.
And let me tell you something. You're really not helping Bernie. Okay, you're not helping Bernie at all whatsoever by pushing away Tulsi Gabbard people the way you are. Whether you like it or not, Bernie Sanders' greatest ally is Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah,
especially
whether you like
in this
it or
election,
not.
whether you like it or not. And the fact that you guys just keep on pushing people away and turning them off, and they're seeing this, is really just disgusting. Some of you out there, if Bernie Sanders was in front of Anna and he saw this behavior, you think she'd say, go ahead and do that? No, he'd say, don't do that. That's terrible. And for the same people posting that stuff on Facebook who are providing a platform where people can come on there and call her trash, it's just asinine, ladies and gentlemen. Please stop. You're not helping Bernie. If you don't like Tulsi, that's fine. But for the sake of Bernie, will you shut your mouth? For the sake of Bernie, will you shut your mouth?
I don't think they want to help Bernie.
They don't. Well, some do. Well, some
not these people.
Not these people. Well, she says she's a Anna.
But she says that.
Anna
but I don't buy
Kasparian says she's a Bernie Sanders
I do
supporter.
not buy it for a second. They've done nothing to prop up Warren. Emma Vigilant has been talking about how Elizabeth Warren is better on domestic policy than Bernie. I don't know if you can find it, Johnny, but she freaking said that. It's out there. She has said it multiple times, and that is just false. Elizabeth Warren isn't even close to that. And Elizabeth Warren is a warmonger. Elizabeth Warhawk Warren.
Yeah. I mean, it's and the people who are real Bernie fans who are being fooled by this rhetoric and fooled by these tactics, you're not helping Bernie, because I'd say about 95% of the Tulsi supporters that I know, their second choice unequivocally is Bernie. I don't want that number to go down. I want that number to go up. So if you keep on attacking her, you're going to turn people away.
There's differences between attacking and having valid criticism. I'm absolutely for valid criticism of every single candidate, including my candidate, Bernie. I absolutely think no candidate, no politician is above valid criticism. But there's a difference between that and what TYT is doing, and we're going to continue to talk about it, fam.
Yeah, because these people they are really enticing. Like here's the thing: if I have a friend of mine who's a Bernie supporter and she attacks Tulsi, I'm not going to turn around and attack Bernie because I love Bernie. He's my second choice. But you're gonna put it out there where somebody other than me is going to start attacking Bernie just because you're attacking Tulsi, and it's going to build like a wildfire. You're building discontent. It's terrible. Where's the stuff right here? Okay, I just put up really quick that Buttigieg versus Gabbard. You want to continue to have us involved in endless regime change wars.
I mean,
we don't have to go into that. Yeah. We talked about it, but we can skip over that. And the last one, I put the Democrats join the Republicans to block peace. House majority condemns Trump for Syria withdrawal in a bipartisan review.
This is ridiculous.
This is breaking today. The Salt Lake, Utah Times, the New York Times had it.
Every single time the Democrats and the Republicans agree on war is because they want more war. Learn that, get it in your brain, and just understand that. These neocons are all one giant party when it comes to war. And it is absolutely ridiculous that we continue this idea that humanitarian aid, we don't give a crap about the Palestinians, we don't give a crap about the Yemens, we don't give a crap about the Kurds or the Haitians that are fighting for democracy or the Ecuadorians that just won because they took to the streets. If we cared about people, we wouldn't base our actions on money and oil and on whatever profits us. We don't care about them. We never cared about the Kurds. We were never going to be with the Kurds. We were always going to support Turkey, always, every single time, and that's it.
At the end of the day.
That's it.
At the end of the day.
It's always about the money. You just have to always follow the freaking money.
And once again, like I said, the Kurdish, they have blood on their hands too. Everybody does. But the best thing we can do right now is pull out, get out, no matter what, unequivocally. Not just get out of the way, get out. Get out. And the fact that a lot of these Democratic Congress people are saying that benefits Russia, once again with the xenophobic Russia baiting, the neo-McCarthyite bullshit. We have a Super Chat contribution from Mr. Orochi, and remember that your Super Chat contributions are always appreciated on the couch. They make me not want to be progressive sometimes, fam.
I was talking to my friend Ashley last night, and that was her sentiment. I mean, she was being attacked just by having, critical points of views of a certain member of the squad, and she, oh my God, you should have seen like the level of sycophancy that attacked her. Just like, you're canceled. You're the kind of Bernie supporter that ruins it, and da da da. And she's a Bernie supporter. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't even have any sort of conversation when you're not like literally like putting these people on a pedestal. We need to stop putting people on a pedestal. We need to stop the idea that we can't have independent thought. That's the future. I think we're going to see more and more candidates like Tulsi Gabbard in the future, because she is an independent thinker. And I value that. I consider myself an independent thinker. I consider myself a leftist, like super left, right? But I also consider myself somebody that's an independent thinker. I'm not just going to go and pick my little box here and stay over there. I'm going to listen to what other people who disagree with me have to say. And this is something a lot of us won't do on the left. Yeah. We will write him off, and we're going to talk about what Tulsi did that was so terrible.
As Poppy Chulaman, thank you so much, Poppy. He says, as a Syrian, I agree completely, and thank you for featuring me on your show and showing my point of view. I appreciate it a lot, and we appreciate your words.
We appreciate you.
When we heard you say that stuff, I immediately made a clip just to put up the little sound bite, get people to go there and see, because you are actually a Syrian yourself, so your opinion accounts. It's like you said, you've done enough, get out. We've done
more than enough, right?
Yes, just get the frig out. And I share your sentiment, and I am sorry. I apologize deeply for what my country has done to your country, because it's disgusting. And I'm sure you have some great opinions to give. Get in touch with us on the CONVO Couch, gmail.com. Hit us up, Poppy. We'd like to talk more. Maybe you can come on the show one day and tell us a little bit about Syria and what's really going on there as well. But that heavy metal stuff you play, you gotta get into some
all the
hip-hop,
people
baby.
I trust. I mean, that Rania girl, what is it, Syrian girl?
Yeah.
All of these people, Max Blumenthal, Ehrman, all these people that understand foreign policy, right, are actually in unison about this. We need to get out. And Tulsi Gabbard said we need to get out in a safe way, but we need to get out. Like, just do it. Right? Like, that's the bottom line here.
I got a call from Egypt.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That is very weird.
Wow. Sorry. I'm going to decline it for now. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you. Ed Marin's
Deep
there.
State.
Bluesman, Timothy Brunel, Brian McManus. We love you. Are you still kicking for the Denver Broncos? Hopefully. Philip Blair and Super Progressive. Hi, Super Progressive. We love you. Send us a picture of our shirt on. We want to see you. Bluesman, RH Democrats, thank you so much. Jeffrey Pearson, we always appreciate your words. Anthony Penza, how you doing?
That's right.
Is Warhawk her Cherokee name? Talking about
That's a good one. Warhawk sitting fence.
Fence.
I like those two.
Dana Fairbanks is also there as well. And on the Facebook,
Dana.
We got 13, Lucky 13. Michiko is in the house. Love you, Michiko. Uriel Ruiz is there. Love Michiko. Michiko, give us a call. We got to hang, girl. We got to hang. We haven't seen you.
We got to talk for him.
We need more Michiko. Chris David is also there as well, fam.
Hi, Chris.
We got to talk about Emma going full
Oh, God.
neoliberal.
Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure you want me to go off on this? Because I will.
Before you get into this, we're going to be in about 3:30. We're going to also be on the Sham Sharma show in India. So we'll be on that show, me and Fiorella, and we're going to be talking some politics with a man from New Delhi. Emma goes full neoliberal.
Yeah, so click on that, fam, because I want you to read Emma's tweet before I go into my response. But let's read her freaking tweet. She said, "The devolution into full-blown right-winger is complete because Tulsi Gabbard went on Tucker Carlson. She's gone on there before. She believes that we need to talk to people we disagree with. I 100% agree. I don't like Tucker Carlson. I think he foments a lot of, white superiority, whatever, BS. But to me, if she can get those votes, if she can get those independent Republican votes, hey, that's actually a good thing. That's a logical thing. Put aside my emotions. Hey, she can maybe do this." And she went on there to call out the New York Times and to call out CNN. So, Johnny, can we just watch a little bit of this?
You just heard But there's a scene of this woman. You just heard that. I don't know if you've seen that. I know you've been on the road. But there's a CNN employee saying that for taking an unconventional foreign policy position, you are the one Democratic candidate that CNN doesn't like. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't. You know, I think it's kind of absurd, actually, that as we saw in the days leading up to the debate last night, both the New York Times and CNN both ran hit pieces. Today, the day after the debate, we see more of these hit pieces.
This woman, you just heard that.
And then he brought up the subject of Veritas, the Veritas Project, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, the Veritas Project has been featured on RT as well. Some of those things, you know, people agree with.
On this show.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on this show. We're not right-wingers, and I don't care what people want to label us as, because we have independent thoughts. Again, I've told you all I'm a leftist. So I don't know what Pasta wants to label himself as. I mean, labels are labels, right? But the reality is she went on the show to call out the hypocrisy and the smear pieces by the New York Times, the same two people that she was wanting to boycott for a specific reason. And everybody was like, go on the show, go. And she did. And they literally proved her point right. So what is so terrible about her doing this? And before I get into it, Pasta, you want to read the super chat?
Yeah, but the question right before I get into that is, fam, is also too, and just a question I have, is because X says something, does that make Y false even if Y is true? In other words,
Right.
the truth is the truth no matter who says it.
Right.
And that's what this whole Project Veritas stuff is about. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make a difference who said it. The truth is the truth. Whether it came out of Donald Trump's mouth, my mouth, your mouth, the truth
The left
is the truth.
cannot do that. Or the liberal, I want to clarify, the liberal left. When I talk about the left in negative terms, I'm talking about liberals. I'm talking about neoliberals, centrists, and people who think they are progressive, but they're really not, because they don't understand foreign policy. So
Yeah, the $10 for, I'm sorry. Thank you for the Super Chat contribution from Luis Brooks. And remember that your Super Chat contributions are always appreciated on the couch. Super Chat contributions are always appreciated on the couch. Aren't we there because of a natural gas pipeline? And we aren't out, just moved. What a mess.
Exactly.
Tulsi 2020, yay, Sham,
Exactly.
Sharma. Yes,
Exactly.
we are moving out of the way, but we are contending on moving most of our troops out. The main thing is that we hope we get a deal where we're not occupying and using force. I don't know what bases are going to be left behind and what's going on. I don't want any bases there, but a deal hasn't been made, and there's a ceasefire on the table to possibly happen, and just scale down the tensions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yes, we showed the Zero Hedge report with the gas lines, the pipelines. That's what it was all about. It was a natural resource extraction, a proxy war against Russia, and we armed terrorists, and then we armed Kurds, and we just set the place on fire. So, fam, I'm so sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, so let's go back to that, right? So again, Emma is saying that because she went on Tucker Carlson, now she's a right winger. Tulsi Gabbard is actually a Democrat. She's always been a Democrat. I think one of her family members was a Republican, but she's always ran as a Democrat. She's a veteran. To smear a combat war veteran like this constantly. I mean, between her and Anna, they take turns onto who gets the most points for smearing this woman. You don't have to like her. But basically what I wrote was, in response to her, I said, this is your complete, devolution into a full-blown neoliberalism. Number one, Gabbard is calling out the New York Times and CNN. This is a good thing. Number two, if we ignore half of the country, you're going to hand Donald Trump the election. This is what elected Donald Trump, this sort of idea that we're just going to ignore everybody that disagrees with us and call them all deplorables and just assume that they're all the worst and just not talk to them because we can win an election with less than half of the country. You guys are an echo chamber. The left is not that big anymore. This is exactly why. Number three, I guess it's okay for Anna to go on MSNBC and CNN. Fact, they're just as bad and treat progressives worse. We've talked about this before. The conservative media will have a lot of progressives on and treat them better because they hate the Democrats. Then the Democrats like CNN or MSNBC will treat us. You can go back and Google every progressive you think, and the ones who have gone on Fox News and the ones who have gone on CNN. You can see how they treated. Yes, Tim Canova on the left media, corporate media versus the right corporate media. I'm not saying I agree with either one. I think they're all trash, But I think you can get your message across on either one. If I'm going to go on MSNBC, because I would, like I said, I would go on the left or right. I'll still go on Fox. That's not a problem. You know who it helped? You know who it helped? It helped Bernie Sanders. When he went on the Fox News town hall, he was able to get so much support. Like, he talked to Republicans, and Republicans were like, holy crap. This man isn't what the media makes him out to be. He's not this full-blown communist. He's actually making logical sense. His policies are, I can get behind that. I may not like his label as a democratic socialist. I may disagree with him on here and there. But hey, looks like he's been working with unions, and looks like he cares about the farmers. And hey, he wants to put America first and not engage in the disastrous trade policies that the Obamas and the Clintons engaged in. Maybe I should take a look at him. And that's exactly what happened. What happens every time he goes on conservative or independent media. It happened with Joe Rogan. You saw how it helped him. So Bernie Sanders does it. So why is it all of a sudden bad for Tulsi Gabbard to do this? I mean, I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I think TYT is pretty much just putting it out there. We are now like MSNBC lights. This is where the money's coming from. This is what we have to do. I have no control over anything anymore. Yeah. And that's it. And it's ridiculous. It's disgusting. You do not get to call yourself progressive media when you continue smearing a good veteran like this. Yeah. And it's a smear.
And I think once again, they were really kind of harping on the Project Veritas stuff. And
as if she chose the subject.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, like, it doesn't make a difference whose mouth it comes out of. Just because X says it doesn't mean that Y is false.
And nobody's saying all of it is accurate, but I mean, at least talk about it. And it has a lot of, there's a lot of points in that. But again, Tulsi Gabbard didn't decide to talk about it. Yeah. She's simply pointing out something that Tucker pulled out and is like, hey, this is what's going on too. And I disagree with Tucker Carlson on pretty much everything, but I agree with him that the Democrats are bad. I agree on that note.
He's pretty good when it comes to like foreign intervention too as well.
But you can't get past.
He points out a lot of things.
But here's the thing, Pasta. When you use the rhetoric he does, it pushes people aside. I wish he wouldn't use that rhetoric of the white supremacy rhetoric.
It pushes people on the left aside. But once again, we're not also talking about fishing on the left. We're talking about fishing in the open waters, and a lot of people love Tucker Carlson's, his libertarian views, his non-interventionist views, and just the fact that he does, like you said, have on progressives on the show. Sarah Smith was on Fox more than she was on CNN and MSNBC.
Because Sarah Smith was a freaking progressive.
And let me tell you something.
More left than others.
And when they go on Fox, it's not just layups to go out and attack the Democrat. It's about they push back. They talk about the ideologies. So it's not just a fugazi interview. It's a pretty decent interview. Who are you running against? Why are you running against this person? Okay, you're Democratic opponent on the left, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about your ideology on this versus my ideology on this.
We're not.
And it turns into a pretty decent interview.
And here's the thing. I disagree with Pasta on like that. I am not going to minimize the importance Tucker Carlson does when it comes to like the racial issues he's fomenting. However, I believe he's doing that because he's talking to his base. I do think it's more of like, I want these people to listen to me. I 100% think that's important. I think he should be called out on it. I think the white supremacist takes he gets are bad in general, whether I'm left or right. I think they're just bad, period. But I still think these politicians should go on it. I think every politician should go on it, not just Tulsi. I think all of them should. If they actually want to win this election, if they actually want to get votes, please go and then criticize him on there. Criticize them on air. Yeah. Oh, I don't agree with this, Tucker. Da 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 da. But freaking do it instead of hiding behind your echo chamber, which is all that these people are doing.
Yeah, and like we said, it's you know what I'm saying, we're not going to agree on everything, but there are areas where we agree on, and there's some strong areas where Tucker is great in, and that's a really important thing, an important discussion. And Tulsi Gabbard's been able to use that platform to get her anti-interventionist regime change message out there, and that is important. So once again, I can commend them because let me tell you something. CNN, MSNBC, they're all freaking warmongers. They have so many ex-CIA intelligence officers pushing their war contractors right there. They have deals, they have contracts with the military-industrial complex, and they don't even disclose that information. So we got to get out of here,
Bottom
fam.
line, they're all bad, but we all need to
use them. They're bad in different areas too. So
yeah.
I mean, once again, like I said, when it comes to war, Tucker has been pretty damn good about regime change and everything, so I'm going to give him that there. So thank you for the super chat contributions, and thank you for the 126 people that are now on. We are asking for a special extra push right now. Since they're unsubscribing people, we need you to go out there, tell your friends, just have them subscribe. We want to see how we're getting suppressed, and we want to see our subscriptions go back up. So please do that for us. For Pasta Jardula,
And Fiorella Isabel.
Jonny Tsunami, check us out on the Sham Sharma Show.
CONVO out.
Bye.
Bye, guys.